First cold start after that cold snap we had. Let's see if it's making any new noises. Still have battery power. How's it sound? Doesn't care if it's -5 degrees outside, doesn't care how long it's gonna be cold, it'll still start up just fine. We're back in here with the SLK after a bit of a break, and we're gonna go ahead and try and get this squeak solved. Before I get too far into this video, I do want to say thank you to the people over at SLK World Forums. They've been a huge help, and I just want to say, they're not sponsoring me or anything, but I just want to say thank you. And I want to say thank you specifically to one user, SLK32 Rick, who's been helping me with photos, trying to find parts for this car that may be missing, and getting me a lot of really helpful information. Let's go ahead and get the Mercedes up in the air, and we'll make some adjustments. So at the end of the last Roadmaster update, I showed you that I had actually gone ahead and already replaced the oil filter cap because of that cracked ring around the top. And after replacing that, everything is nice and dry underneath here. No leaks. Even after sitting for a couple of weeks through these cold starts, it didn't have any problems starting up. I'm looking around underneath, everything looks nice and dry. So today, my main focus is going to be on this rear differential. So you can see up there, I've got a spacer installed. That is definitely not the correct spacer. And what I think is happening, the angle of the drive shaft isn't lining up exactly the way it should, and it's creating a lot of tension on this rear flex disc. One of the things that I'm not sure if it shows up on camera, but it's developed these grooves and wear spots. So what I'm hoping is that getting this angle corrected will get rid of my squeaking noise that I'm hearing and hopefully reduce the amount of tension that's on that flex disc. Comparing it to this one up front, it doesn't have the same stress marks around the outside that I'm seeing on the rear. So let's go ahead, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that bolt out, and we're going to see where where they want to sit naturally when they're mated together, and find an appropriate spacer. So I've got my diff mount out of there, and so right now it's just the tension between the driveline and the rear diff that's holding it in place. Now let's see, if you look right here, as I move my diff up and down, you can see that it changes the flex disc. And that's what I think was happening was, I believe that it was off to one side and causing too much stress. You can see these lines kind of showing up. So hopefully getting this adjustment correct will get that solved. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna look, try to find a correct spacer or see what I can make to have a spacer that fits. I also have this punch in here because the nut that sits up above is actually supposed to have like a little stud that holds it in place. But that stud has broken off, so in place of it, I drilled a hole and just used a punch to hold that nut in place. So I'm gonna see if I can find a spacer that'll set this in the correct position. So I was able to get a different spacer with a couple of washers, and that seems to have it set at a position where it's not putting too much stress on this rear flex disc. So next what I'm gonna do is we're gonna take it out on the road to see if we can hear any of the squealing. So far everything seems to be nice and quiet, but it definitely sounds a lot better. Before, I don't think I had an audio clip of it, but I would get a squealing sound right about 45, 50 miles an hour, and it wouldn't be RPM related, it was related to wheel speed. And so that's when I had it narrowed down to the drive line, and that's when I started asking around on the SLK World Forums saying, hey, can anyone send me a picture of that differential mount? Because it seems to be a bit out of alignment. And sure enough, it seems to have taken care of it. It's always nice when these simple fixes take care of some awful noises, but we'll put a few more miles on it and see if it's still quiet. everything seems to look good on the SLK. I'm not hearing any squeaking or squealing. I do have an exhaust ordered to take care of this check engine light. We're gonna get some new components installed, hopefully take care of that check engine light. And then the other thing I've got to diagnose and replace coming up is this. You can see that my window is only going down about halfway. So that will need to be diagnosed here in an upcoming video. So we'll be taking off this door panel, doing a little bit of work to try and figure out what's going on there. And then the other thing is that this window will need to be adjusted. If I go to try and close the door, you can see that it isn't lining up. So this window will definitely need to be adjusted. I like doing these shorter videos, doing one repair at a time. So I know that a lot of you are wanting 6 to 10 minutes, and that's kind of what I'm shooting for with each of these videos. So definitely stay tuned. I have a lot of work to do on this SLK, trying to get it nice and right, and I still have some vibrations to iron out. I think I'm gonna be doing the left and right front wheel bearings. So plenty of work left to do on this SLK. And I really appreciate all of you for watching. I just wanna say thank you so much. Please feel free to like and subscribe, and I will talk to you in the next one.